All right, welcome to today's webinar where I'm going to talk and share with you about the gut-skin axis and share with you some of the secrets to unlocking and improving skin conditions. So the information I share does not replace one-on-one relationship with a qualified health professional and shouldn't be considered health or medical advice. I'm giving you general reflections here today. And the unauthorised reproduction or distribution of this work is illegal, copyrighted to myself, the Healthy Gut Nutritionist. So what I'm going to share with you today is what the latest research on skin conditions and gut health says, why taking an integrative and functional medicine nutrition approach can be quite life-changing, and how to get started. So this is me. I'm a university qualified integrative and functional medicine nutritionist. I have a very special interest in gut health, autoimmune disease, skin conditions, mold, illness, and nutrigenomics. I'm just about to finish my Masters of Integrative Nutrition. I'm a registered nutritionist here in Australia, and I'm continuing my education, and I'm a member of the Methylation and Genomics Institute. It all keeps me very busy. I've supported hundreds of people, I would dare say thousands now, around the world, regaining their gut and overall health, their energy, and their confidence. So what does the latest research say on gut and skin health? What I want to share with you first is this image, because you're going to hear me say quite a few times today this term dysbiosis. And if we think about what goes in our mouth and what comes out our bottom or our rectum or our anus, the inside of us is hollow the whole way down. And how I describe it to people in my clinic is, think of yourself like a donut. So you're like a donut. You've got this hollow bit on the inside, and then you've got this skin on the outside. You've got skin on the inside too, which is the outside of the donut. So in this diagram here, this bit up the top here would be the inside of the gut, and this is the lining of the gut wall, which is only one cell thick, and this in this diagram is the bloodstream. So what happens when you've got a really healthy gut? You've got this, you eat food, you bring in pathogens, not intentionally, but, it's on your fingers, it's on your hands, it's on the food, it's in the water we drink, it's what we breathe in. And we've got this beautiful mucosal lining of our gut, this green bit here. And what happens is, when we've got these bugs that come in, if our gut and this beautiful mucosal lining, it's called the secretory IgA, if it's good quality, it protects our gut lining. And as a result, some of our T and B cells and our macrophages, dendritic cells, all the things in our immune system, which is just one cell below the lining of the gut, that protects us, it's not upregulated. It's just kind of humming on, and that's what we call symbiosis. When we are in a state where we have dysbiosis, so where that beautiful mucosal lining wears down, when we've got too many pathobionts and pathogens in our gut, what we end up seeing is we have a breakdown of the intestinal lining, and you might have heard of intestinal permeability. It's commonly referred to as leaky gut. What that means is sometimes then those things that are not meant to be in our blood system do sneak in, and as a result, you can see in this last image here, we end up where the body becomes in a state where it's doing what it's meant to do. It's protect ourselves, where there's this upregulation of our immune system. And for some people, it results in things like autoimmunity and cancer. So if you do have any questions around this, probably the best way would be to book a free discovery call with me, and I'll share with you at the end. So today, just write down all your questions. You can always DM me on social media. That's the other option. But yeah, happy to answer any questions. I am science-based, so having a master's degree in integrative medicine, I'm very focused on making sure I'm always looking at really high-quality evidence. So when we're looking at evidence around gut and skin, the highest level is what we call systematic reviews, and that means where people have gone and done an assessment to say, look, what's currently all the research? So really summarising the quality of evidence from below here. Randomized controlled trials is where we say, look, 10 people did this, 10 people did that, and we compare the results. Cohort case studies, case series, that's where practitioners, potentially like myself, would stop to say, look, this is what we're seeing in our clinic. I'm yet to do that, but I will be doing some of those studies next year. And then, the lowest level of evidence is where people just share their opinions. So what I'm kicking off today is a study which is at that highest level. So it is a systematic review which looked at the role of the gut in inflammatory skin conditions. So with each of these, I have put the source. So if you do want to go and have a look at the source, you're more than welcome to dig it up. You just Google it, and most of the time it will come up as a PDF document. So essentially what these people did, they conducted a review and they looked at a lot of articles, hundreds of articles. And I suppose essentially what they found was acne, psoriasis, urticaria, which is hives. In the summary of all those hundreds of articles they look like, saw that there was an association of gut and skin. The atopic dermatitis results, which is eczema, the research showed that it was conflicting. In saying that, in my clinic, I'm going to share with you today some case studies, and they're pretty amazing. Just because the evidence isn't there doesn't necessarily mean that it's we can't do things and things are not working. I suppose what this is saying is the results just are not at that highest level of science at the moment. And what they found in this systematic review was there are certain bacteria that really do impact on inflammatory skin conditions. And I will say that is what I see in my clinic as well. So there are various dietary components, various sorts of illnesses and lifestyles and prebiotics and antibiotics, probiotics, and drugs that can alter the gut. So this particular paper said that all of these things combined can lead to dysbiosis and can impact the gut. It can decrease that mucosal layer that I shared with you about, can result in this passage of microbes through the intestinal barrier, can reduce toxic products, can impact neurotransmitters, which is basically our mental health, and can impact our T and B cells, which then reflects in our immune system and create this low level of the IgA secretion. So today I've got quite a lot of diagrams, only because I'm visual and I love diagrams. So what this diagram in this paper was saying, look, when we've got a healthy state, things are going really well. And when we've got a dysbiotic state, such as here, what we find is there's these pathogens and these this breakdown in the gut, which then impacts the skin. So if you think about the gut, it's kind of down here, and then we've got this lymphatic system and your blood system. What we sometimes see is for people with skin conditions, it's on the outside of the donut. That, if I use that donut analogy, that's where they're having a manifestation of what's going on further on in. With eczema, also known as atopic dermatitis, this particular paper, which is a reasonably new paper, only 5 years old, found that people have dysbiosis. More than not, people with atopic dermatitis have things going in their gut, and also reduced short-chain fatty acids. And short-chain fatty acids are very critical for our immune system. If we don't have a lot of them, then that's not a good thing. What this paper also found is that the microbiome is highly personal and it varies very significantly, but most certainly precision and personalized medicine, by looking at the microbiome, is potentially a way that we can really hone in on addressing atopic dermatitis. And that's something that I have seen significantly. And I've got amazing case studies and photos to show you in a minute. So again, it's basically telling you the same story. So we've got an increase of certain pathogens and a decrease of commensal, which is basically keystone, which is basically good bacteria. So if we've got a reduction of good bacteria and we've got a reduction in short-chain fatty acids, which is protective, and then we have these pathogens, what we end up with is this intestinal permeability and these pathogens basically getting into the bloodstream where it shouldn't be. And as a result, we see this upregulation with the immune system and then it presenting on the skin. This is just another way of explaining it, but more sharing, around what healthy skin looks like. And then when people have acute and then chronic disease. So you may be familiar with the term cytokines. It was, a lot of people became more familiar with it with COVID because COVID creates cytokine storm. With this person with acute disease, they have a cytokine storm. So all of these interleukins have been activated because of what's been going on in this person's gut. And this results in an upregulation of their immune system. When we see chronic disease, so when this cytokine storm has been happening, often then what we see is this Th1 and Th17 activation. And what that ends up looking like for some people is tissue destruction. So particularly in things like autoimmune is very serious. So we want to be really working in to say, right, if you do have these inflammatory skin conditions and other things going on, we've got to be addressing what's going on. We've got to get what I call the fire burning out, because at the moment the fire is out of control. We've got to work out what's fueling it and really work out how to fight it. And like I'm sharing with you today, a lot of it does start within the gut. Acne. So this is a very complex multifactorial disease. All of these skin conditions are. But acne, we do know, has many facets, including genetic, metabolic, and hormone factors, but also the gut is becoming well researched as having a key role. Again, those short-chain fatty acids are often low. We often see people with significant dysbiosis, so too many bad bugs or not enough good bugs. And as a result, we're thinking that this is potentially causing and sustaining people with acne. And again, another diagram where it's a bit of a different diagram, but it's in sharing that, we do have issues of androgens. We do have this inflammatory response. Again, those cytokines, which are very pro-inflammatory. Genetics do play a key role, but also the gut. And often when we get the gut under control, the inflammation gets under control reasonably quick. And we do see hormones, because the hormones and the gut are linked as well. That's a time for another webinar. But it's amazing. We clean up the diet. We do the things that we know can help, and then people's skin improves. It fascinates me. I can't wait to show you some of the stories in a second. Psoriasis. So this is the studies are showing that both the cutaneous, so the outside of the skin, and the internal microbiome, the gut microbiome, play a key role. And definitely the composition of the microbiome is very significant in that immune system regulation. Psoriasis is categorized as autoimmune. And so we really are trying to make sure that those signaling pathways are as optimal as possible. And again, another diagram, we find that there's an upregulation, not upregulation, increase or an overgrowth of bacteria, which is not optimal. And usually a decrease. I see this time and time again where people often have none of these really important bacteria in their guts. And it's not so much, you can't just give a probiotic and say, here you go, this will fix you. We've got to have a look at the big picture. I'm always asking the question, what has caused this in this person's gut? What has enabled the terrain in the gut to get so upset that, we've got too much of this and too little of that, and the mucosal layers are worn down. It's not just adding in probiotics. That just does not work. And I'll share with you an example about that in a minute. Urticaria, also known as hives, which is a very itchy, annoying condition. Again, gut dysbiosis and decreased levels of short-chain fatty acids. You're seeing themes here, right? I feel like I'm repeating myself. But it's, that's what I say to people. I'm not really concerned about the title of your skin condition. I know it's important to you, but for me, it's not. It's more about saying what's going on in your body, what's going on in your gut, maybe your biochemistry, maybe your genetics. With urticaria, again, pathogens, intestinal infections, parasites are definitely things that were seen in this particular study. And that upregulation of inflammation. LPS means lipopolysaccharides, and it's basically the byproducts of the pathogens and the nasty bacteria. So we want that to be not there. We don't want that, because once that's instigated, we see inflammatory mediators like TNF-alpha and histamine being released, and then people can't get over and get out of the cycle. So again, another just example looking at different ways of looking at this. You've got beneficial bacteria, which are really good to help with the short-chain fatty acids and get them in a good balance. We have opportunistic pathogens, which create the lipopolysaccharides, the LPS, which are not good. Some people have infections like parasites, Helicobacter, and other things. And that all creates this environment where the gut becomes inflamed and out of balance. And it's my job to work with you to say, right, where do we start? Where do we have to stop to look at the big picture to say, right, what's going on? And where do we tackle this to improve health? Urticaria becomes a little bit more complex because of the implication with histamine and mast cells, but it's most certainly not something that is, unachievable, if I can put it that way. And I will share a case study in a minute of someone who had chronic urticaria for years by doing their genetic testing, understanding methylation, getting a handle on why they had these histamine and mast cell reactions. We were able to basically make it go away, which is good. So taking an integrative and functional medicine nutrition approach. Integrative medicine means looking at you as a person, as a whole, and stepping back to go, right, what is happening for you? Looking at mind, body, spirit, kind of things. Functional medicine is where I look at all the different systems of the body and think from the perspective of gut and genetics and things like that. So that's what that means. What I do is I help clients address what I call the non-negotiables in food and lifestyle. So with skin, there are particular things that fuel the fire. So what I do is I help them say, look, what are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you doing? How are you living? How are you sleeping? What's your movement like? Do an assessment of their toxin exposure, and then work through what are the upgrades? What do we need to change to help really start addressing some of the root causes? I support people to go from deficiency to sufficiency in their intake and absorption of their nutrients and minerals, and also help dismantle what I call dysfunction in body systems. So I'm always thinking about what's the root cause? What are the triggers? Why is this person not able to get resolution? Most of the people I see have had many years of dealing with their skin conditions, have seen many people, often many functional doctors, naturopaths, nutritionists, you name it, and not got resolution. What I do is I take that step back. I ask a lot of weird questions. If we need to, we do certain testing. And then what I do is put together a plan based on you. I have never to date pulled together a program on skin health, mainly because everyone is different. Every single person's protocol is different. There are similarities for sure, but everyone's different because I do really believe in personalized medicine and take that approach in what I do. Methylation, you may have heard of the gene MTHFR. It's quite popular. It's this one here. And I'm in no way saying it's not important. It's incredibly important. And I love knowing about it for people on their genetic test. But when we think about skin health and overall health, it's way more than just the MTHFR gene. It's about, right, how do we make healthy cells? How do we make good DNA? That's where sometimes with some of my clients, we need to get to, particularly if you have an autoimmune or other things going on, chronic illness, if you've got long COVID, things like that. Understanding your genetics can play a very big part in regaining health. So on my YouTube channel, there's a video called Unlocking Health, an introduction to nutrigenomics, if you want to learn more on that. So I'm going to take you through some case studies, and look, I really think it's worth listening for the next, 10 or so minutes, because they are amazing. I had tears in my eyes when people sent these through, and I've got goosebumps even saying that to you now. And I think it's because when I am with clients, I'm very present, and they tell me, oh yeah, the skin's improved and this and that. They don't necessarily give me the emotion of how it's impacted their life. So when I got these stories through, it really made me feel so incredibly grateful and honoured to help these people. I help lots of people with skin. It's just, I just am not very good at asking for testimonials, but these are the ones that I've got. So Taz is a little boy, and he had a form of dermatitis from infancy, also terrible cradle cap, rash under his arms, rash behind both ears, which were bleeding. He had significant digestive issues and constipation from about 6 months old. Mum told me in the first appointment that she'd tried many topical creams from the dermatitis, natural options, steroid creams, didn't work. She'd also tried lots and lots of things for constipation, including suppositories and other products and probiotics, but they didn't fix it. He ended up continually constipated. He did a gut test with a different practitioner and remained really healthy with lots of fibre and water. They also cut dairy and gluten out of his diet. With the results of his gut test, they weren't told to do very much. It was just, oh, you're doing a good job. Just keep doing what you're doing on the probiotics. And that was it. She was really stressed. It was really impacting him. And then because he was so constipated, he used to scream when it was time to go to the toilet and do a poo. It was not a pleasant time. And this is all her words. This is her quote. She sent me her testimonial. Just before contacting me, she'd been away with friends and this little boy's playing on the beach and a poo rolled out from under his board shorts. And she said it was horrendous. She said all the kids pointed and squealed at him how disgusting it was. And he was only 4, and it really broke her heart. She'd been looking obviously for help for a long time. He had had this chronic constipation, all of these severe skin problems since he was a baby. Now, I was helping her brother rather, had very low TSH, which is thyroid stimulating hormone, was under the care of GPs and endocrinologists. They could not get his TSH up. I'd been working with her brother, and within only a couple of sessions, we were able to get his TS up into normal range. So her brother was rapt. Her brother's going, yeah, go see her. She'd help me with my gut, help me with my thyroid. And so all of a sudden, Mum books an appointment, which I saw her virtually, remotely on Zoom. I took a look at his gut test, which was now, 6 or 12 months, I can't remember exactly, but in the past. And it was really clear to me what was going on. And when I asked her what the other person had put her on, or put the little boy on, it wasn't the right thing. So, bit annoying. So basically, I prescribed a particular probiotic and a particular supplement. It was very easy for her to do. And I said, look, do these things along with some other nutritional and lifestyle-based recommendations. But let's just keep it as simple and as easy as possible. And she was like, okay. And she went away and did it. Within a couple of weeks, his skin cleared up. The skin that was bleeding and red and horrible for him for 4 or 3.5 years of his life cleared up. And he was going to the toilet. He was doing a poo. He was really excited. And he was telling everyone. And his gut symptoms completely were alleviated. Mum says the whole family's celebrating. It has been an incredibly massive change in the energy of the household. It's been 4 months. He's got now no signs of the dermatitis, no creams. His confidence in himself has grown, which I see that a lot when we work on the gut. Mental health changes. And, in kids, we describe it as things like behavior and happiness and mood and confidence. And in adults, they mostly report mental health benefits. And he's flourished. So she says, thank you for empowering us on how to help. We're grateful for the massive changes this has created for him and the whole family. Oh, just amazing. Gives me goosebumps. Here's another gorgeous girl. I have changed her name. Audrey was 10 years old when I saw her. So this is a photo of her hand that her mum sent through when she was thrilled that her skin had healed significantly. So the day I saw her, her skin was as red as a jumper. It was bright red. It looked angry. It looked sore. It was bleeding. It was not pretty. And she'd been suffering from atopic dermatitis, eczema on her hand for many, many years. I can't recall how long. I think it might have been since a baby as well. They'd tried everything, pharmaceutical drugs, lotions, potions, creams, you name it. And this young girl said, I will do whatever it takes. We did the gut test and we found out what was going on in there. And similar to Taz, it was quite simple changes. The biggest change for this girl was she did need to go gluten-free because of one of the things we found on the gut test. That was pretty challenging. But because she was fed up she said, yeah, I'll give it a go. And within 2 weeks, Mum sent me this photo and her skin had significantly reduced. And as you can see, it's in that next stage of healing. Unbelievable. Here is this gorgeous girl, unbelievably gorgeous young girl, this one. I'm so blessed with my clients. Sadly, top to toe covered in chronic atopic dermatitis, eczema, for 7 years of her life. So she was recommended by the osteopath that I work closely with. Very funny story. This osteopath has been saying to Mum, I think for months, if not a year, go see Vanessa, go see Vanessa. And she was like, I don't know what she'll do for me. And then in the end, he said, go see her. And he was pretty firm. And, you know, I think because Mum had tried naturopathy, homeopathy, osteo, aromatherapy, kinesiology, diet, all the things, and nothing had really helped reduce it, she booked the appointment. And I think she says here, I met the case with genuine curiosity and a focus on finding why. And that's what I do. I'm like a dog with a bone. I want to know what the root cause is. This was so painful and itchy and uncomfortable and horrible for this young girl. I had to work out what was going on, what was fueling this, and how do we get rid of it. This is, look at her face. So this is, it was all over her body. This is her face now. And I am talking months. I think in the next page, Mum will tell me how long. Months. But within days, weeks, Mum was texting me going, oh my God, her skin is clearing up. In the short time we've been working with Vanessa, we've shifted from having recurrent staph from head to toe, rashes, to being almost skin-free. Her mood has changed. Her energy has changed. Her hair and her skin are growing longer. She just looks so happy and gorgeous, and her skin is thriving. Her skin is glowing in that second photo. The final ankle pick, this one, is all that remains. Look, you can see her hands are clear. So we're doing the work internally and also within her environment to help her clear that. I cannot overstate the gratitude we have for the changes that I've helped them make. And look, I'll be bloody honest here. It's not me who makes the changes. It's you, Mum. It's Ashley. It's Emma. It's all of my clients who take my weird and wonderful advice and they put it into practice. And sometimes there's trial and error. And it's you. You're the ones who make the change. I'm just your guide. I'm just the person who, you know, works out sometimes what the cause is. Here's Nicholas. Again, I meet Nicholas remotely. He's in Victoria. Working with me to help heal the gut has dramatically improved his quality. Oh, I think the recording dropped off. Let me see. There we go. Going back to Nicholas, so working with Vanessa to heal my gut has dramatically improved my quality of life. The atopic dermatitis, the eczema, skin flare-ups are few and far between. I'm more comfortable doing things like going to the beach and exercising. Nick is a gorgeous, in his 20s, young man, has his whole life in front of him, and he struggled for a very long time with a lot of discomfort, feeling anxious, and just not being in great health with his skin. He says that my practice is holistic, talking through emotional dietary triggers, and has enabled him to do that really deeper healing. So good. And now I hardly ever see Nicholas. Like, I don't think I have seen him. I texted him for this testimonial. So thanks, Nick. I don't think I've seen him for 6 or 12 months. And that's what happened. People get really well, and then it may be a check-in when things are going on. You know, it's often not about skin health the next time I meet them. Often it's about something else. This is not a photo of Mary, and I've changed Mary's name. This is a photo of Wells syndrome. But Mary was diagnosed with Wells, a rare autoimmune condition affecting her skin, which is very severe, itchy, burning, and very, very painful. It's an incredibly rare autoimmune condition. I think it's only 400 people in the world. So this happens a lot in my clinic because I seem to attract very complex cases. And I sit there and I go, oh no, I'm in above my head. And I just remember, take the labels away, take the label of the condition, take the rarity of the condition away and focus on what's going on, the story. So I took her story. She said she turned up because she was crying in her sleep most nights due to the intense pain, despite taking lots of very serious medications and very important medications. And her husband really promoted her in coming. And what she did was she started my autoimmune program. And in a few weeks, her symptoms went away. The skin went away. You know, we don't use other words like healing and things like that. And I'm not a doctor, so I can't say she's in remission, but they went away. So that has been a really good thing. Now, with Mary, she did start to introduce other foods back and tried some things and she flared. So what we know is, okay, there's certain things that keep this at bay. And if you're not in pain and you don't have this incredible symptoms, then it makes it much easier to do those things. Incredible stories, aren't they? Here's another one about urticaria. So that's where you kind of get big mozzie bite hives. They're really, really itchy and sore. So this one said our young daughter would flare for months on end. It started when she was 6, incredibly itchy and painful. Really hard seeing her suffer day and night with little relief. Tried antihistamine supplements, creams, but didn't fix it. Working with me changed her life. We did do the Smart DNA Advanced Pathways test, and we found out that this kid had quite significant challenges with methylation. And if your methylation is not optimal, then histamine is often impacted. So what we did was we worked out how to help her body, her biochemistry in this case for this kid, and she hasn't had urticaria since. It's gone away. And again, this person said they're eternally grateful. It's been absolutely life-changing for our girl, which it is. It's the best. My own story, I had acne and pimples. So if any of my friends or family watch this, they will be able to validate that. Through my chin and my foreheads through my teenage years, well into my 30s. And it was really worse around my period. They'd often be really cystic and hard and painful. And sometimes I'd even get them on my back. And it was around 15 years ago when my stepson was a little boy and he said, do you know you've got big pimples on your chin? And he said something else, like basically, you know, it looks disgusting. And I knew, but I remember feeling I was so embarrassed to go out and I'd try to cover them up with makeup. There would be not enough makeup that I could wear. Now I wear no foundation. Back then I was lathering it on to try and cover it up. I was eating well. I was doing what I thought was right. I was seeing a naturopath. I was seeing all these people, but it never got fixed until I became an integrative and functional medicine nutritionist. And I started to address some of the root causes of what's going on in my body. Now, every week, people remark about how they see all these different health professionals, and I'm one of the healthiest health professional they've seen because my skin glows. Now, I'm in my 40s and I'm getting wrinkles and I've got grey hair and I'm getting older. But I think, you know, the thing is, you can often tell health on skin. So for me, no scars and stuff like that. So some of the work that I've done has really helped regenerate my skin. So knowledge is really power. Understanding how your environment and nutrition intersect can empower you to take control of your health and that of your family. And it's shifting you from being really reactive, looking for answers, throwing mud at the wall, hoping it sticks, that scattergun approach, to taking more proactive measures and enabling you to really know why you're doing what. If you want to know more about the gut test, I've got a video on my YouTube called The Benefits of the GI Map, Gut Microbiome Test. I've got a video on the Omnix metabolomic test, which is a biochemical urine test. I run this, and I also sometimes run the organic acid test. They are similar but different. Mold often plays a really critical role in skin health. So if you live in a place where there's damp, water, mold, you can smell it, it's musty, you must watch this Mold Matters Pathway to Health and Recovery video. And if you want to know more about genetics, there's Unlocking Health, an Introduction to Nutrigenomics, where I just talk at a really high level about the benefits of knowing this data. So how to get started. So if you want to start getting to the root causes, stop struggling, and you go, yep, no, I'm over this, it's about time to get a personalised plan, then integrative and functional medicine nutrition is a great step to work on your skin and overall health. And what you do is you book an initial appointment on my website, you complete the intake forms, you provide me of copies of any testing. If you've done bloods, I want to see them. If you've done other gut or organic acid or any other testing, send me a copy, I upload it in my system called Practice Better. You'll get an invite when you book. And then the first appointment is the most critical, where I ask you lots of weird and wonderful questions and dive deep into your health and your family's health history, and I'm trying to join the dots. That is a 90-minute appointment. It's a significant investment. Without me knowing your story, and I think that's why I get a lot of success and traction, is because for people, it's often in the story. When I know your story and when I start joining the dots, that's when I can work out how to create you a personalised plan. And then we order tests. So if you need functional tests, I'll tell you the costs, I'll tell you the benefits, I'll tell you why. If it's not within budget, we just say, right, let's try some other things. Some people want to do it all at once. It's all good. I'm in your hands, really. So I will use my brain as best as I can. And then if, you've got the resources and you want to do testing, it will give you information. I've never had a test result come back with nothing so far. So in each appointment, we'll go through test results if you've done them in detail. I'll give you nutrition advice, I'll give you lifestyle advice, I'll give you supplement advice as appropriate, advice on any further testing, and go into a lot of detail around your questions, and also develop you a plan that is going to be easy for you to do. I ask people, do you want to go mild, medium, or hot? I'm not going to ask you to do big, big things if you're only capable and you only have the time and you only have the energy to do small things. And like you saw, that example with Taz, Emma has 3 children. We couldn't do big, huge shopping list of things to do. So I really honed in around what's the best things for her to do. And then she went and did them. Same with Ashley and her daughter. So, I just work within you. Nick, we went a bit harder because he was over it. He was in his 20s. He wanted to do more things. So completely in your hands. So all you need to do is go on my website. There's a link there to my YouTube. If you want to watch some more videos, you can book an initial consultation with me. If you do have any further questions, like I said from today's video, you can book a free discovery call with me. And that way I can best answer them. And you can see if it's worth a fit. Working with me is an investment. So it's not something that, I think a lot of people dive into too quickly without a lot of thought. But that's why I've shared those case studies with you to show you that it can be, a significant investment in you or your kids' health and life. Because if you can start to work out what the triggers are, what we call in functional medicine the antecedents, and also what's sustaining inflammation, and if we can get on top of it, it is life-changing. So that's it from me today. I hope you have an awesome day. And like I said, if you've got any questions, reach out. Ciao for now.